Recreate Solutions was with an IIT colleague of mine. And it's obvious that 3 4 years you guys spend together, you get to know a person well. You know the DNA of the person, you have common friends, common traits, the bond is created, and you trust each other. Absolutely. So your friends, there's absolutely nothing wrong in having your friends as co-founders. But here is the mistake most of us make. We think that the ideal co-founder for you will be your best buddy, will be someone with whom you'd love to have a beer, will be someone who you are thinking of, your 3 a.m. friend, so to say. This is not what a co-founder is all about. A co-founder is someone who will be as different from you as possible, someone who will complement you. And co-founders need to complement each other, both in terms of skill sets as well as in terms of temperament. That is where we make the mistake of taking co-founders who are identical to us, because they are the for people who we believe in their friendship. When it comes to finding co-founders, we have to look at it with a separate prism rather than friendship and personal compatibility. My co-founder in Unicorn Ventures is a gentleman by the name of Anil Joshi. He and I are as different as possible. Age-wise, we have a difference. Our backgrounds are very different. He has been an investor before starting Unicorn. I have been an entrepreneur before starting Unicorn. I am a big picture guy looking at strategic perspectives. He's an ops, nuts and bolts guy who looks at the paperwork and the contract. So we complement each other. If there are 5 people with whom I would like to have a beer on a personal time, he may or may not be one of those persons. That's a different thing. But he's definitely someone who totally complements me in every way. And that, for me, is the essence of co-founding. So whenever you guys are looking at co-founders, always keep this in mind, and not just the softer points, even the more technical points. If one of you is going to be the CTO, the technology, the product guy, your co-founder has to be someone who by nature is more commercial, more outgoing, more into the thing. Because in the initial days, between 2 3 of you all will have to do everything that is there in the organization. So that is a very, very strong understanding which you folks must need to have. And this we see, identical background guys coming back to us, 2 guys, both of whom are doing product design, and there is nothing else on the commercial side. So this is something which you guys must keep in mind. The next question is a very relevant question, which I almost in every discussion I have with young students, I keep hearing is, how does one know that the time has come? How does one start? And is there a eureka moment? And if so, how do I figure it out that this is my eureka moment? Is it a flashpoint, or is it a series of sequential events? And is it something one has experienced oneself and therefore come with the idea? Is it an idea someone pointed out? Honestly, if I step back, there is no right or wrong answer to this. Someone has very rightly said, a proverb which I keep quoting is that there is no right time to start a business. There is a Chinese proverb which says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So for me, the way I view it, and to answer your question directly, is if you are passionate about entrepreneurship, if you've understood what it takes to be an entrepreneur, not get glamorized by the 30 under 30, 40 under 40, somebody 3 batches your senior has been covered by Forbes, has raised $5 million from a large VC. None of those. If you feel that you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur, which is some of the points I highlighted, the risk-taking capability, the support from the family, thriving in chaos, not wanting, being able to live with an anonymity, not being scared that your wingmate will tomorrow be working for a large company and be earning $100,000, and you would still be struggling being a startup founder. If you are in a mindset where you can get yourself to believe that all of these things are possible, then and only then should you even look at being an entrepreneur. And then, as the saying goes, if you have an idea, go for it. And I'll talk about what I mean by ideas in the next slide. But if you then have an idea, go for it. Do not be looking at the external macro. Never. Because whatever you guys try to do as a startup, whatever any startup does, is very small to be taken in by the external macro. A lot of people ask me, it is COVID time, is it a good thing to start? Go ahead, start. Not COVID has nothing to do with your idea, because some of the best businesses have been launched in the bad times. In during the global financial crisis 12 years ago, we had Airbnb being launched that time, Venmo being launched that time, Uber was launched that time. So therefore, do not get carried away by the macro. If you believe you have the passion for to be an entrepreneur, and if the idea is good, then go for it. And then I'm coming to another extremely, extremely important point, and this is very relevant. I can hear most of young students, young folks like you come to me and say that, I have an idea, but whenever I started to look around, I find three other people have done that idea. This is what I say. Ideas are cheap. It is all about execution. It is how you execute, how much planning you do, how do you position your company, what is the larger pain point you're solving. These are the differences between success and failure. I do not think that a Steve Jobs or an Elon Musk are born every day. They are rarity, and whether we like it or not, they are product of the uber innovative culture of the Silicon Valley. Within India, if any of you all are looking at an idea which is going to be totally path breaking and keep looking for that idea, that is not going to come. Let us take the case of Ola, something we know, all of us know very well. When Bhavich first came and pitched this idea in and around, he had a very simple message: Uber for India. And he wasn't replicating just what Uber did. He had understood why, in an Indian context, our Uber will not succeed. And he had done exactly those things. He had understood, number one, that you have to have a cash element in India. He was accepting cash. Number two, he realized in India, given the chaos that we all thrive in, you need to give a dedicated OTP, otherwise, someone else will take someone's cab. He did that. Third thing, most importantly, he realized that India, we are always wanting to talk, be on WhatsApp, view data. He provided, the Wi-Fi systems within the cabs. Fourth, he realized that in India, unlike in the West, where there is public toilets, there is no public toilets over here, and they are far away. He came with an app where you could find your nearest public toilet from wherever you're traveling. He Indianized an idea. He did not wait to come with the next revolutionary idea. He took an idea that existed in the West and made it for India. That, for me, is the essence. It is all about execution. And we as a business, as a fund, we back ideas, we back businesses which are using technology for improving business processes. So none of these are path breaking ideas, but these are using technology to create new business dynamics. And I think the opportunity is there. Do not get carried away by the fact that your idea will be the only one. In fact, my advice to you all is, if you pitch to a VC and you say that no one in the world has done it, a VC like us, and majority VCs, will balk and get away. And one of the things we don't like to hear as a VC whenever you guys are pitching is to hear that I have no competition, because fundamentally that means you've not been able to understand what the market is. You have defined the market in such a small way or such a niche way that you are saying you don't have competition. I keep talking about a article I read a couple of years back in Fortune, which said that the biggest competition to fine dining is Netflix. Because at the end of the day, if you see, when you go out for fine dining, they are pitching to take 3 hours of your time. Netflix is telling you those 3 hours you stay at home, I will get you food and you watch Netflix. So there is a competition from everywhere. And this is not a discussion for that, but you must remember, when you're talking competition, you must remember that there are antilogues and epilogues of competition, and there are a number of books on this. So always remember, ideas are cheap. Don't get carried by the that your idea has to be the path breaking one. It is all about execution. And finally, I want you guys to understand that failure is a stepping stone to success. And this is something which is personally very close to my heart. I want all of you to understand that as risk is intrinsic to entrepreneurship, so is failure. To fail is very common in the entrepreneurial journey. Always remember, it is the business or an idea that fails. A true entrepreneur never fails. This is something which we as a society have slowly started to recognize. And over a period in time, we have to accept this as a society. I know many successful founders and entrepreneurs who have dealt with the failure and have come out of it much stronger. It is interesting to see how entrepreneurs draw learnings from the failed businesses and second time around make a success out of it. Failure is inherent in startups and entrepreneurship. As a fund, as I told before, we invest in second, third time entrepreneurs, even with those who have failed earlier. And, we also take in our firm a lot of associates and analysts who have tried earlier their hand at startups, failed, and come back to join us. So, my young friends from IIT Delhi, my submission is, I personally embrace entrepreneurship. For me, it is truly a state of mind. You can be a startup founder, and you can also be within that, working within a large corporate to see at the optimal time to come out and start off your own. I strongly believe in everything started from nothing, and this is the title of my book. And therefore, today, when any of you all see a large corporate, any of you all see a large company, a large enterprise, yes, you have to be wowed by the scale of that business, but always remember that each and every one of them started with one or two or three persons sitting in a, either a garage or a hostel room like yours, or in a dormitory somewhere, coming up with the idea, because everything starts from nothing. Thank you guys, and more than happy to take any questions.
Thank you, sir. So it's really pleasing and exciting to hear your story and your experiences and how you turned the hurdle stones in your journey to get where you are. So you're truly an inspiration for all of us, for all the IT people, folks, and all other people who are uh, trying to carve their way into entrepreneurship and the investment world. So, guys, the platform is open for all. You can raise your hand and I will unmute yourself. I think you can unmute yourself, right? So just first raise your hand. I will name you out and you can ask your question. Rohit, yeah, here's Rohit. Rohit Shaw. Yeah, Rohit.
Good evening, sir. Sir, like
Good
I was
evening.
saying that I am planning of an idea that already exists, but in a different form, and I am planning for different services and a slight different execution of the ideas. Then can it be a good way to go, or it already exists like that?
No, it's a good way to go. The example of Uber Ola that I gave you. It was an idea
Yes,
but a different
it
way to
was
go.
relatable. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is similar to what you're saying. It's an existing idea, but you're approaching it differently. One of the businesses which I exited was a business in the area of film distribution. Film distribution has been going on for a long time, but earlier the film distribution used to have physical reels that used to go to the cinema. So even a Shah Rukh movie, would have about 200 of the old 35 reels, and India had about 6,000 cinemas. So what used to happen was the reels used to go first to Delhi, then to Noida, then to other areas, and it was a double whammy. If the movie was a success, Pirated copies used to go. The movie was a failure. Tier 2, tier 3 cities canceled the order. So we didn't do anything new. We used technology by creating VSAT networks to send signals straight to the cinemas. We digitized an existing business process. You know, what we were not in a film distributor, but we used technology to do that. That is the power of technology. We did not come with a path breaking new idea. That is what I'm trying to say. You don't have to be the next path breaking idea to change the world. You can be a good business, profitable business, just by doing that.
Sir, and one more question that I'm actually not aware about marketing of a startup that I'm still to learn of. And can you please give me idea about how much money is it needed for a startup to begin with? Like what are the basic requirements and all?
It depends on what type of business you're trying to do. But initially the way the funding goes, there are today a lot of angel funding networks available. If your idea is strong, you should pitch to them. Funding keeps happening, anywhere between. And then, on the technology side, you have Amazon, Google, all of these guys are giving a lot of free web space, free web services which you can use off. Very different from my time when you would have to have a lot of capital expenditure. Today you don't need capital expenditure. So with minimal 20, 30, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 lakhs, you can start developing your product. And there are enough angel networks today to do it. I'm sure IIT Delhi also has an alumni network
Yeah.
which must be funding. So that's how you have to start. Once you have an MVP out, then you should start getting into the fray for trying to do this.
Okay, sir. Thank you for explaining it.
So I myself have a question. So different entrepreneurs have different views on colleges. Some of them say कि colleges are the crucial steps for startups, while others say that colleges are basically for fun and all the stuff which you are learning in college can be learned up from internet. So you had a very conventional journey, like you did your bachelor's degree from IIT, then AMP from Harvard. So a natural question comes to my mind: कि how much colleges contribute to entrepreneurship?
My personal take, I differ from a lot of people like Elon Musk. I think colleges are very important
Yeah.
because they give you a grounding. They give you a grounding, and it doesn't necessarily have to be what you learn as the grounding, but fundamentally they give you a grounding. They give you a network of people, which is extremely important and stands you instead. Today, about 50-60% of the business I do outside day-to-day stuff is with people I've known from the college, or at least the college association is there in some way or the other. So
Yeah.
that for me is very important. Also, it's very important to surround yourself with very strong, intellectually as good, if not better than you people. Otherwise, if you're a lonely person in an island, you think you're the best person.
Yeah. And so, since you said that colleges are very important, so what three pieces of advice would you give us to enroll in what three activities we should enroll into in during our college life?
Whatever you like, that's for you guys to decide. There's nothing of that like, but just be as broad based as
Yeah.
possible, whether it's sports, so cult events, whatever. Broad base yourself to the extent possible, because broad basing yourself gives you the larger base that you require to be an entrepreneur later. And nowadays, you all have entrepreneur clubs. You all are having sessions like this happening. In our times, none of this was there. So, you all are living in the best times. Make most of it.
And during your talk, you also said that luck matters to an entrepreneur significantly. So, I have a question. Do you invest seeing your astrology or uh,
No,
horoscope? No.
no, no.
Okay.
That's not luck. Luck is something else. Luck is something else. Luck is where, as I said, you will, and it has happened to me. You are talking to somebody in a flight, you meet someone introduces you to someone for totally different reason. But because you're so passionate with it, that person finds you interesting. And then, because you're passionate, because you're a go-getter, you see a small window of opportunity, and then you enter that and make it happen. That is what I mean by
Okay.
luck and evangelism. I
So
don't
luck
mean
is
looking at.
very random, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I don't mean like looking at your horoscope and going to the investor at 10:22 because that's what the horoscope says. That's not luck. That is something else.
Once you have a question, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Hello, good evening, sir. Sir, I wanted to ask what kind of a mindset a student who just entered in college and want to explore different things in life should be have.
It is as I said, college life, don't make it just for academics. Of course, academics plays a vital part, but broad base yourself, build friendships that are there for lasting. For me, that's the single most important thing. And involve yourself in as many activities as possible. Co-curricular activities, extracurricular activities. Things like entrepreneurship clubs, cells, robotics clubs, wherever your passion is. Nowadays, you have a whole array of things. Just go for it, but build very strong relationships. That is very important. And some of y'all who get this opportunity, get involved in clubs like this. Whether it is entrepreneurship club, alumni clubs. IIT Kharagpur alumni club is very active, and I constantly talk to some of the brightest kids there are, and very good fast forward learning they have because they're spending so much time interacting with folks like us.
Dipesh, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, sir. Good evening. So I want to know if I want to invest along with your fund, then what are the options I have? How can I join your fund?
Well, funds like us don't take investments from individuals, but if people want to invest, there are a number of angel platforms on which you can invest. There's number of them. I don't want to mention any one or two because all of them are friends of ours, but if you do a search, you will see there are a number of platforms where they put up deals and you can invest small amounts, right up to a lakh, 2 lakhs, and start investing. But
So,
before you start to invest, you must understand how much money you're willing to lose without it affecting you, because startup investments, that is very important. You cannot look to invest in one, two, three startups and expect any returns, because startup investments is very much like a portfolio theory. You have to have a minimum scale of 15, 20 investments for you to justify. If you're just thinking that you put money in one and that is going to give you 5x return, then you're dreaming. It may in the odd case, but that's less than 5% chance. So before you start investing, understand how much money you can lose and it's not going to affect your life, then you start investing.
okay, thank
Vineet, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask how to network with strangers or new people. Like you said, we have to keep in contact with influencing people. So, how can we maintain a relationship and approach them? How to start?
Uh, Again, there's no right or wrong formula. You can't be seen as overtly doing it also. Then people will find you creepy. But you just have to be outgoing, naturally outgoing. You have to start to show interest in people, what they are saying. I personally, for example, and not everyone isn't like me, but I constantly encourage people, whoever reaches out on cold emails, LinkedIn, with a clear, crisp message and not trying to sell anything. I encourage that. That's one way. And I know a lot of other VCs also encourage direct approaches. So that's the way. You have to be seen to be proactive. Reach out to people, because at the end of the day, remember, the person on the other side is also a human being. We have exalted opinions of the person we are talking to, but they have exactly the same emotions that you have. So you must connect to them on a human to human level.
We can take a couple of questions more. I think Akshat, no, Adarsh was also. Adarsh, can you unmute yourself and ask it?
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir. Sir, I have a question that as you shared the difficult journey of entrepreneurship, then how relationship with the spouse or someone close to our heart is also maintained along with the difficult journey. Means सर जैसे अप्स एंड डाउन्स बहुत आते हैं तो मतलब हम कोई भी एक चीज अच्छे से मेंटेन नहीं हो पाता तो वो कैसे कोई मेंटेन करे.
ये तो बहुत ही difficult question है, Adarsh. It is very tough. The person on the other side must understand you totally in this journey. If you are there explaining to someone that you have given yourself 5 years, 6 years time to try to make something happen, and if your girlfriend, spouse keeps comparing you with another batchmate of yours who, because he or she is in a larger company, is having a much better life, you cannot sustain. You cannot sustain the relationship, or you cannot sustain the entrepreneurship. So, someone who understands you, and obviously from that perspective, it's very, very difficult. How will you do it? I don't know. To each they have to do it, but they have to do it. It's not easy. It's not easy, especially at the age you all are. Can you imagine 7 years from now, one of you all will still be trying out a new idea without much success, and one of your friends in this group itself will be working as a, whatever, regional head for a multinational company somewhere, obviously having a very good lifestyle, and you are still out there. But unless you do it, you will never know when to do it. So, there is no formula for it. It is up to you to try to make what works. So, all I'm saying is you have to be aware of this. I'm not discouraging you at all. All I'm saying is you have to be aware of this rather than just read an Economic Times and saying that I'll be an entrepreneur.
So guys, we are short of time, so we can take no more questions. And thank you, sir, for your sparing your time and come and give us a deep insight into entrepreneurial journey. And thank you, guys. I think session
Hello.
was very fine. Yeah. Sorry.
Hello, sir. One last question.
Yeah, Akshat, you can go.
So, sir, I am Akshat, second year undergraduate student. And
Yeah.
sir, you are in corporate world from many years, for many years, and I want to get some experience by doing an intern. Can you guide me like how can I get intern?
Hey, you should reach out to companies. Today, companies are reaching out. You can reach out to companies directly, and people are taking even second-year interns nowadays. We take second-year interns from IITs, but I think our internship program I would have encouraged you to reach, but I think we are closed for this year. But I'm sure there are other funds. And other companies where you can reach out for internship programs. People are very open to direct approaches nowadays.
Thank you, sir.
Akshat, yeah, cool. So thank you guys for your unwavering participation. I think it's one of the finest session. And thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.